Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I will say thank you so much for turning up this evening. We were just chuckling as body after body after body came pouring in through the door. It's almost like people care about this football club, which I think is probably a good sign moving forward. Nobody wants to hear from me or Jamie, I'm sure, so I'm hoping we'll do very little talking. But there are some rules of engagement that I need to just explain before we get started. I should probably advise that the fire exit is there and there, I think, in an official capacity and at the end of the bar. But if you've got a question, just put your hand up, please. And Ben, wherever Ben is, Ben will come over to you and hand you a microphone to speak into, because I think one of the issues with the fans forum in Bradford a couple of weeks ago was that people could hear what Jamie and I were saying, but they didn't actually know what question we were answering. So hopefully if we can help people out online with that tonight, that will make a big difference. So I'm not going to hold up proceedings any longer than that. I would like, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you all to our new manager, Mr. Paul Caddis. So yes, we're just going to get cracking. We'll cut straight to the chase. If anybody would like to open up and put their hand up for the first question, feel free to crack on. It's not a good start.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a lovely night. I'll see you again soon. Got a question at the back over there, Ben.
I was just wondering how much you know about the division that we're actually in. Do you know any of the managers, players, the teams that we're going to face?
Is that to me?
Yeah, if not, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I've said from day one, I'll be open and honest with everything I answer and everything I tell you guys. I've never played in the league, I've never played non-league, I've not managed in it, but I've been to a lot of non-league games. Listen, I knew the last 3 or 4 years of my career that I wanted to be a manager, and I knew that would come outside the leagues, so to speak, so it wouldn't be League 1, League 2. So I knew I had to do a lot of research on the divisions below. So I've done a lot of watching games, up to LLs in the morning, just watching loads of games, watching loads of non-league games. So in terms of the knowledge, I've caught up quite a lot. I believe I'm quite confident in everything that I'm doing. I've got a lot of friends, a lot of ex-teammates that play in the leagues. I know the Leamington manager really well, so been speaking to him of late. So listen, again, I won't sit here and lie and talk rubbish to you all. I've not managed in the division, I've not managed anywhere, I've not played in the division either, but I'm confident in the abilities that I've got and the knowledge I've got that I'll be successful.
Who's up next?
Let's make him work, keep getting a question front, back.
Well, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Hope it works out, because obviously we all want it to. Let's cut through the chase. There's no making any bones about what happened on Saturday. I believe you had a discussion with the playing squad.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a brief explanation of your sort of decision making?
Yeah, not a problem.
Or, was it some of them said no and you said no kind of thing?
Yeah, so obviously out of respect for the players, I won't tell you what happened, and I know you're not asking that.
Yeah.
But I'll talk you through the process of it. So the plan was always to speak to the players today, actually, so the Tuesday after the last game. The players fed to the current first team manager to Jan at the time, that I think there was a bit of anxiety there. I think they wanted to know where they stood, which is fine. I get, listen, they're part-time footballers, they've got bills to pay, they've got mortgage to pay. So out of respect for Jan, my plan was to wait until today. First of all, because I didn't want them to down tools, because I don't think that's fair on Jan, because his professionalism has been top. And second of all, I didn't want some of them not potentially turning up to games or whatever it may be. I don't know how it would have worked, but so eventually they wanted me to speak to them, which I was fine doing, but listen, I don't think, and it's easy for me to say here, but the character that I am as a person, I don't think that should have been any issue with the result on Saturday. First of all, if I'm just going off how I was as a player, if anybody had told me that they didn't want me, first of all, I'd be going on that pitch to prove them wrong, and second of all, I'd be going to try and get myself another club. So I don't think that should have any bearing on the result, but that was how the process worked. So again, happy to go through. I think it was Thursday I went and spoke to them, went and called a meeting with every single player and every single member of staff. Wanted to do it man to man, face to face, shake people's hands, explain the situation, where I'm at in terms of budget, in terms of where I see them in the future, do I need them, do I not need them, and then there was 4 or 5 that I would like to speak to further. So that's where we're at, and that's the bones of it.
I would just say that we were fully aware going through that process last week that doing it ahead of the game wasn't an ideal situation. But the circumstances were a little bit exceptional in terms of the fact that Paul had already been appointed and Jan was getting asked questions, and it wasn't fair for Jan to be fielding questions on behalf of somebody else who was going to be making the decisions. So Jan agreed that it could be brought forward. We brought it forward to last Thursday. As Paul said, he wanted to do it face to face. He didn't think it was right to do it through phone calls or text messages. And given that the players after Saturday aren't actually back in as a group, it probably would have been more disrespectful to invite them all to meetings for 5 or 10 minutes this week if they were going to get bad news. So it wasn't ideal to get it done last week, and I understand people expressing concern about that being done last Thursday. But taking everything into account, we thought that was the right way to go with it, simply to try and control it ourselves and do it ourselves. And like I said, I'm happy to listen to anybody who doesn't agree with that, but that's the long and short of where we were with it. Right, then go to the middle in the fellowship.
Hi Paul.
How then?
Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
It's kind of off the back of the last question. Obviously, as far as I'm aware, we've got one player staying at the minute, and you as the only playing staff. Have you got players and staff lined up ready to come in and fill that gap?
I hope so.
No pressure.
No, listen, of course I made a lot of changes. There's the proof's in the pudding. I wanted to bring my own players in first and foremost. I'm well and truly on track with that. I've been looking at, I've been going through and I mean thousands of players non-stop for the last 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. So I'm well and truly on track with that. Hopefully in the coming week or so we can start announcing players, start announcing signings, but listen, it's my job to get recruiting right, and I'm confident in doing that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Just to finish talking about that Saturday, I'm sure you've read in the Hereford Times yesterday that one season ticket holder who lives in Plymouth brought his 11-year-old son up to Blythe, and it was a 14-hour there and back journey. Is there any way the directors would consider giving them some sort of gift?
I did wonder what the poor lad had done to deserve that trip. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, should I? I've been in touch with Rob a little bit since Saturday. I did try and find him at full time on Saturday, but I think he might have made a beeline for the M1, unsurprisingly at that point in time. So it's something we will speak to Rob. I mean, it was an incredible effort to travel all that way. It was an incredible effort to travel from here, to be perfectly honest with anybody. You came just this far with 3 hours on the bus, and I looked at the sign, we'd only got to Darlington on the way home. So, but it was one of those things. Yeah, we're aware of what Rob did, and it's obviously been covered, as you say. I'm sure we can look at doing something. But I have had some contact with him in the meantime as well.
Hiya, welcome first.
Thank you.
You touched on potential players. I'm just wondering if you could give us some information on the potential sort of management structure as well, like assistant manager. Have you got an idea of your team?
Yeah, I've got an idea. At the moment, there's still games going on, so I can't really touch too much on that. Obviously, I want to bring someone in that's got experience at the level. which again I'm well and truly on that. I've got a couple in mind, but one in particular. I've got a physio, and listen, you probably don't really interested in that stuff, but we've got a physio and a backroom team well and truly in place.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Are we going to be based in the Birmingham area for training? And are you going to be living in that sort of area, or are you going to be travelling from up north like last match?
Yeah, so there'll be a slight change next year in terms of, we'll still be based in Birmingham, but the training will change to Tuesday and Thursday evening, and I'm happy to explain my thinking behind that. I just feel that asking part-time players who've got full-time jobs to come in on Monday and a Thursday morning can be quite difficult. Personally, that's how I see it, and I want to attract the best players. So for me, attracting players to train a Tuesday and Thursday evening is a lot easier than attracting players that'll come out to a Monday and Thursday morning. And in terms of me, my plans, obviously, as you guys probably know, I spent a lot of time in Birmingham. I was at Birmingham for 6 years, so I know the place very well. But my plans will be, obviously we'll train on Tuesday night, I'll go back home the Tuesday night after training, and then I'll come back Thursday training Birmingham, and then I'll spend Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Hereford. So I'll always be here. My family will come down Friday when the kids finish school. I'll be here Thursday night, come across from training. I'll be here all Friday, and 95% of the time I'll stay a Saturday night after the games as well. I think that's important for me. I think I've got to embrace like you guys.
Who's next in the green t-shirt, I think?
Hiya. First of all, I totally agree with your decision about the squad. They lost 21 games last year out of 46. Lost to all the bottom 5, but conversely they beat Fylde home and away, who were champions. So totally agree with the rejig. Where are your players going to be coming from? How are you going to convince players based up in the north to come down here to play? Or conversely, would you get players based in the south to play every other week up in the north?
Yeah, listen, I understand it's a challenge, but I've spoken to a lot of players, and I'll be honest, I use you guys as bait. You're the heart and soul of the club. You turn up week in, week out. There's no other club in this division that's. I said to Chris last Saturday when I came to Bradford Park Avenue game, I could feel it sitting in the stand. The guys were desperate to get behind the team, but just need something on the pitch for you to get lifted. So in terms of the recruitment, yeah, listen, I don't see it as a challenge. I feel as if first and foremost players will want to come and work for me because through contacts and stuff, I've got plenty of contacts in the Birmingham area. But again, I reiterate, they'll come and play in a brilliant club in front of brilliant supporters.
Ben, there's an arm up over here that you can see.
All the questions. Paul?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
A question I've got to ask is, you have half the games at Edgar Street and half the games away. Will you make sure that the players know the type of surface and the type of pitch that Edgar Street is? Because we do have advantages here, and the players need to know, and they need to practice on the pitch because we've got half the games played here.
Yeah, listen, again, spoke to Chris again, actually today about it. The pitch out there is a huge pitch. We've probably got the biggest pitch in the league, do we? Potentially. Yeah, one off, yeah.
Used to be the biggest in the Football League 100 years ago, I think.
So yeah, we've got a huge pitch, so like again, last week, the Bradford game, Miles Story's obviously extremely quick. So when there's space for Miles Story to run into, why not put the ball into space for him to run into it? And it was so evident at times in the first half where he kept coming short, the ball kept getting playing at his feet, and that, I know Miles' story, I played well, that was not Miles' story. His asset is he's rapid. So going off your point, yeah, 100%, the pitch is huge, we've got to use every dimension to it possibly, and especially when you've got pace in the team.
Good evening, Paul.
Thank you.
I've got a question for you. You said earlier on in the match at the fifth side of the league. How you going to go about that 2 days?
Yeah, so listen, if we want to compete with full-time teams, we've got to be as fit as them. And I'm not one of these old school ones where I'm saying coming in and they're going to run for 2 hours. But what I'm saying is the session will be high intensity, and I've made this well aware to every player that will be coming to the club. So Tuesday night will be a really, really high intense session. I've got to bring characters in that I trust that they will do a bit of extra work when I'm not here, which will be evident, and we'll see that. They can take monitors away, whatever, and I can monitor them. So I want to compete with the full-time teams, and the best way of doing that is be as fit as them, get as much quality in as we possibly can, and then the rest we've got to just deal with ourselves.
Hello Paul, it's Justin Ratcliffe, Vice Chair of the Hereford United Supporters Trust. A big welcome to Hereford. Just as an aside, I do have a message from a League One manager, Paul Warren, who asked me to wish you every success in your first appointment, and he did say, do tell him that the first 10 years are the worst.
First 10 years? I've not even been in the job 10 days.
I think, I hope I speak on behalf of a lot of people, I find it very refreshing how you've spoken so openly about your style and the way you want your team to play. I think the interview you gave for the Bonding Football Club website was absolutely superb and really open, and I think I'm sure everybody is behind you on that basis. Very simple question, in the 10 days or so you have been in the job, what do you see as the top 4 or 5 challenges managing a club at this level?
First and
Don't
foremost,
say the chairman.
not this early, no. First and foremost, I think at every club, the most important thing is recruitment. You're only as good a manager as the players on the pitch. So recruitment first and foremost. Anything after that, I don't know. I've only been in it for 10 days. Secondly is probably just trying to get you guys going as well, trying to get people behind me, trying to... Listen, I will never ask you to trust me. I've got to earn the trust. So by me putting a team on the pitch, I'm hoping I'm earning trust from you guys, and then in return we get a bit back from you, which I know I will. I'm extremely confident I'll get a team on the pitch that you will 100% get behind. Listen, I said it on the website, obviously you'd watched it. I can't promise we'll finish top of the league. I can't promise we'll get a striker that'll score 35 goals, a winger that'll have 15 assists, but I can promise non-negotiable things. I can promise hard work, I can promise desire, I can promise character. So that is all that I can promise for you, and I know I'll get as much and more back from you. But in terms of 3 and 4, I've got no idea.
I've got another question down the front here, Ben, please.
We've had so many false promises in the past about bringing youth team players through. We've had some exceptional players come through who've gone on to fame and fortune in league clubs, Gerard Bowen being the present one. And I was delighted to see that you've offered terms to Mark Derricott. And I think the youth team have just finished top of the league. So there is huge potential there. Would you see a pathway for young players?
Well, actually the conversation with someone behind the scenes to do with the youth team, so without getting into too much detail, there is things in place that we're going to try and bridge that gap. I think also it's important, listen, you guys are on far more than you, and I said to Chris earlier that I don't know the last time the club sold a young player. I think it's important that we get young players at the club that, listen, at the end of the day, it's a business as well. We want to make money, but we want to get players in, and it can be a benefit to us, local players as well, that they're an asset to us. I don't think we've had that for a long time, so in terms of like protecting assets, so even if I bring a young player in at 19, 20-year-old that's got brilliant potential, then let's contract them, let's get them in for 2 years, and if they do well for 6 months, listen, we'll all be gutted because they'll end up moving on, but such is life. But we're protecting the assets, so therefore it's going to be good for us as a club moving forward.
Ben, there's a question, Matt, in front of you. You're regretting wearing that hoodie now, aren't you?
Can you play centre mid?
It's actually not a question of you, it's more Chris and Jamie. Obviously there's a buzz in here tonight, probably haven't seen for a while. With that in mind, is there going to be any news on when the season tickets are going to go on sale? And also, are you considering doing the booster budget fund again?
We're hoping that the season tickets, Touchwood will be able to go on sale on Friday. We've just been waiting on a bit of work being done off-site in the background. It's not an issue within the club. We're hoping that should sort out on Friday. We have briefly talked about the booster budget situation that we had last year. We want to revisit it a little bit and give it a little bit more thought, and then we'll probably make some decisions on that. But obviously we'll try and put that out as soon as we can. But the key thing is we do want to get the season tickets out. We know we need to get them out as soon as possible. We were hoping to get them at the start of this week, but there's been a little hold up. So we're desperately hoping, Jay, you said to me earlier that you promised me with all your heart that it'll be Friday.
I think the word was, I can't promise. Not a deep promise. But we are trying, hopefully Friday.
Well, Ben, choose one.
Hi Paul, welcome to the club firstly.
Thank you.
Would you be intending to contract players rather than use the loan market so heavily as we have in the past? Because the loan market is not ideal from the point of view of the supporters in terms of getting behind the players if you don't know who they are from one week to the next.
Yeah, I totally get that. Listen, I don't want to build a massive squad of 20 players. My idea is having 15, 16 Hereford players, and then I won't lie, I'll probably utilise the loan market, but not rely on it, if you know what I mean. I'll rely on the players that are at this football club, but I'll only bring loan players in that I think can get us better, and not just to fill gaps. If I want to fill gaps, I can look at the youth team to bring players up for experience. I don't want to bring others from other clubs just to help other clubs out.
Gary down here at the front had another question. Do a doggy up and down the room.
First thing, get a bloody haircut.
He is a volunteer though. Not anymore, maybe.
Have you got a time scale of getting your squad together? Because over the last few years we've had certain managers saying, oh yeah, I just need this centre half, I need this centre half, I need this centre midfield. Listen, yeah, like I say, get to Christmas and we're still searching.
Well, I need a team, so I better be quick. No, listen, I want to get them in as quick as I possibly can. I think that's important. I want 95% of the squad in by pre-season. Is that going to be doable? I don't know, but that's what I'll definitely strive for. Again, I've been speaking to loads of players. It's just getting to that little final bit of finalising it, which I'm there with quite a few, so hopefully in the next week or so we can start announcing.
Yeah, Ben. Thank you, mate.
Okay. Is there any way you will actually let us start by using a development team or something in the future? Because it seems to be a lot of clubs are actually doing that.
That's interesting comment given the conversation that we had earlier on today. So yes, potentially watch this space, I would say to you. Right. That's a simple enough answer.
Okay, Okay, you know you play a team beginning of the season, which is usually a local team.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of playing Hereford Town? Because they are unbelievable at the moment. They probably wouldn't want to play you because you'd probably take some of their players.
Well, the pre-season friendly schedule is being built. I think we want to support the non-league clubs within the city. We try and do at least one of those every single year. So that programme's being put together as of yet. I don't think Pershore Town are featured on the list as of yet.
They are a very strong side.
Yeah, I've seen. I can see they're doing well. So yeah, so it'll all be put together. It's all part of our thinking, and we have had a conversation about a development team to try and bridge that gap between the under 18s and the sort of 18 to 23-year-olds. I think, because you're right, a lot of local clubs are looking at doing that. So it is something that's been discussed only today, bizarrely. I'll take a couple more questions and then we might have a little break so you can refill some glasses and think of some more questions.
Is there any way of having more interviews with players in the changing rooms or on the training ground? Back in the old days, we used to get a lot of interviews. I think Griffiths used to do a lot in that side of things, and it just generates interest and gets a bit of buzz going when you've got loads of players you're interviewing throughout the week, not just once in a blue moon.
I'll let Jamie answer that. Obviously, it is a little bit more difficult nowadays because we don't have the players here full time. So it would be much easier to pick the players up because they were in and around the club training every day. But certainly, I think as the season has gone on, this season Toby's been doing more and more stuff to try and get a little bit more behind the scenes and that sort of stuff. And I'm sure we're always keen to try and improve on that side of things and try and give it the best possible service we can to supporters. To try and we're fully aware, all of us are aware that there has been a gap between maybe the players and supporters, and we know you've got to try and bridge that gap and try and get that feeling back. It works both ways as well, between supporters and players and supporters.
What about during the game, half time?
Now, I'm not convinced we've got a bleep machine strong enough to go in the dressing room at half time, so we might need to be a little bit careful of that one. But certainly I'd like to, I said to Jamie already, it'd be nice to get, touch wood, we get some good results. It'd be nice to have some footage of the players coming back into the dressing room after a win and that sort of stuff. Obviously, we need to agree that with Paul and discuss that with Paul moving forward, but certainly some more content like that, I think we'd all like to see. The inner child in me would like to see that, that's for sure, so I'm sure that'd be good.
I think Paul actually mentioned this in his second interview about how he can get the players closer to the fans, because from the outside, that's something he's identified. So there was a couple of things that he pointed at himself that we can start doing next season to try and narrow that gap. So yeah, watch your space, I guess.
Just what do you feel about having a camera in the dressing room at half time?
You're going to pay for an interpreter then?
I don't think there's an interpreter in the budget. We've got one more question before the break. We'll have a little bit of a break. We'll take that one there first, and we'll come to you first. First one afterwards.
I'm not sure who should answer this, but one of the frustrations for me as a supporter was the fact that we had a squad with some contracted players, not
Thank you.